Happy Tuesday. Hi, everyone. So I'm going live again, and I've decided after much thinking after last Friday's announcement that I will actually record on my journey through cancer and share it with you guys here on my personal page and on my YouTube channel. Mostly because of a lot of the response I've gotten after my posts, a lot of encouragement, and a lot of people that have actually gone through the same thing, but never told anyone. That all came out and messaged me and told me they all went through the same diagnosis or different cancer and their own struggle in their life. And I believe that maybe through this recording and the documentation, that in my heart I know maybe one day this could help someone else. Maybe someone else just got diagnosed and they have no one to turn to. And another one of my huge inspiration for deciding to document my cancer journey is because of a friend, Wendy, who is currently going through her cancer battle. I don't know the detail of her cancer, but I have followed her social media. She's so brave, and she has posted all her journey on her social media page since day one. I met her because she was my buyer when I work as a distributor, and I was trying to sell wine to her. She was this big badass wine buyer for the big Pebble Beach high-end hotel golf resort. And I remember first meeting her, I just go, damn, this woman's got it. Like, she's so confident. She knows what she's doing. There's like no bullshitting. I was actually very much admiring her and also a little intimidated having to sell wine to her. And she still carries that amazing amount of confidence and badassness through her cancer journey. And when I first got diagnosed, it was a lot of shock. And she was the first person I think of. And I went back and reread every single one of her posts on her Facebook and got a lot of inspiration, a lot of strength, a lot of courage, and great recommendations on books. Really helped me through that initial stage. So that's kind of my main reason on why I decided to do a documentation of my own breast cancer journey, and hoping that maybe this will help someone one day. So first thing first, I like to give you guys a little bit of an update, because when I record last Friday, there was a lot of things in the air. There's still a lot of things in the air. The American healthcare system are very thorough. And I learned so much about breast cancer in the short couple weeks since I've been diagnosed. It's absolutely amazing. So what I know now is that I do have one 2.1 to 2.9 centimeter tumor in my left breast. And since it's still movable, it's not stuck to my chest wall. And given the size, and they're not feeling any other lymph nodes or any other hardness or any other tumor, they are categorizing it clinically at a stage 2. But it's very different. There's two different staging process. One is the clinical process where is determined by what they can see. But the other process is once they take out the tumor, is the pathological process. Someone teach me how to say that correctly. And that is when they really find out if your cancer has spread to your lymph nodes and if they need to do further testing. So as of now, I'm only a stage 2. And if you do the research, 98% of a breast cancer patient will survive, and the 2% that will, unfortunately, but has a higher chance of passing away are all stage 4. So pretty much it's 100% survival rate if you're stage 3 and under. And by the way the doctor talked to me, it's very unlikely that it's clinically a stage 2 right now, and when they cut it out, it turns into a stage 4. It's not impossible, it's very unlikely. So they're very optimistic, and I am too. So there's no worry there. Thank you. I'm in amazing hands. So that's kind of the update. And what's next is interesting. A lot of you who might know me for a longer time might have known that I famously said in my younger days I never want to have kids. And people say you will change your mind, and I've been very stubborn about I would never change my mind about having kids. And of course, as like many things in life, I was proven wrong. So about 18 months ago, we decided, my husband and I, that we want to try to have kids. Hasn't been successful, but in retrospect, I think it's a blessing, because I think everything is meant to happen. The time is supposed to happen. Maybe it was my body's way of telling myself that, hey, you have this cancer, you will need to take care of first before we think about the next step in life. And this is, again, by the way, I'm very emotional, so I might cry, just forgive me. So it is an interesting process, and it just so happened that I have scheduled a fertility appointment way before I find out about my cancer diagnosis. And so my first surgical oncologist appointment and my first fertility appointment all happened on Monday, which was really interesting. But of course, once the fertility office find out that I am actually diagnosed with cancer, then my option become very limited. They go, if you still want to have your own kids, your biological kids, you need to go undergo IVF right now, because very, very, very likely you are going to be under some kind of chemotherapy and in combined with some kind of anti-estrogen hormone blocker that will prevent you from being able to be pregnant. So it's very crazy because everything just expedited since Monday, because then they were like, okay, what day of the cycle you're in? We're going to get you started right away. Talk to your surgeon. How urgent is your surgery? Can we go through a round of cycle and get an IVF treatment? So it was a lot of moving pieces. So it definitely had been very overwhelming, and I'm very humble and blessed for the amazing team, because I'm going to Stanford Healthcare and they've been working very well together. So definitely very blessed. So that's all for the update. I tend to ramble on, so I'll try to keep it short-ish. The second note is I wanted to say thank you. And I thank each and every one of you who liked the comment, or liked the post, left a comment, emailed me, texted me, messaged me, DM me, all that good stuff. I am so grateful. First of all, I want to say I didn't reply to each one of them. In fact, I didn't reply to most of them, because it's funny because everyone react to it differently, and logically I know I will survive and everything will be fine, but somehow emotionally the human side in me still, every time when I had to say out loud and describe to someone else what I'm going through, I still kind of cry. And it's like a spur of the moment. Sometimes I can control it very well, like right now, like today I'm feeling great, but sometimes it just randomly I'll say something, I'll just burst out in tears. So to avoid that from happening, I'm not really like individually talk to everyone. So that's that. And thank you, Alan. And there's a few amazing messages. Some of the ones that really stood out to me, Joe wrote me an email. Instead of focusing on what's next or sending good thoughts and prayer, he actually really focused on, he sent me a message on what this is going to teach me. He says what a blessing this is, because it will make you look at life differently. You will appreciate everything you might have taken for granted, which is so true, because I've been so fortunate that I'm 37 years old and I've never broken a bone. The most I have ever went through is I kind of cut my finger, I almost cut it off, and I had to go through some minor surgery. Never into any major surgery, never had any major sickness. So it really was a great lesson, because the first 2 days of diagnosis, your mind go into a darker place. You start to illogically think about yourself leaving this world and how little time you might have, and it really help you appreciate some of the simplest things in life and some of the most important things in life. So thank you, Joe, for that message. And again, the people who have gone through cancer, they share their story, different type of cancer, different stages, and like the doctor, and if you go online and look, that everyone's journey is very different. So amazing and encouraging to hear everyone's story and how many people have gone through it. Is very calming and very reassuring, and I felt a lot of warmth just from that. And I wanted to also thank people that sent me really cool stuff. Like Melissa was like, I'm sending you turkey tail, and I was like, what is turkey tail? Is that something like really cool slang term? Is it like good vibe, but we're calling it turkey tail? But it was actually, I think, a mushroom based supplement. So it's so unexpected, but I'm so grateful for you and each and every one of you thinking about me. I did not expect the response. I was just thinking I need to let people know why I haven't been selling wine for the last 3 weeks. But I really, really appreciate it. And of course, I have people giving me lots of tips on how to go through this process, how to select a doctor. And I also have people sharing with me, hey, this is a free website for manga or like anime and stuff like that. And it was one of my favorite things to read as a kid. So it was really fun to help keep my mind off things. So that's the big sincere thank you I want to give to all of you here. And the last thing is the things I have learned. So regarding the things I've learned is twofold, right? The one side is regarding breast cancer and how far we have gone. And one of the books that I'm still in the middle of reading, but I bought it immediately after my diagnosis, is called The Emperor of Melodies. And again, this was one of the books that was recommended by Wendy, who was the first person I kind of reached out to on social media once I found my diagnosis. And she talked about how this book helped her get through her kind of journey as well. So I'm reading it, I'm halfway through, and this is a really big book. I know it's like intimidating looking, but it's such a page turner. It talks about the history of cancer and a lot of people believing it is a modern disease, but in fact it has been around forever. And just because that our living standard have risen and our medical advances, so the things that used to kill us in much earlier age doesn't kill us anymore. That's why we're now living low enough to be able to develop cancer, and that's why we think it's a modern disease, but in fact it has been around for thousands of years. So it kind of takes you through from way back in the days, and they're finding evidence of cancer, and they talk about how the cancer events in especially really intense since the 1900s, and it makes me so hopeful and so grateful for being alive at this time and age. Now cancer is pretty much, breast cancer is pretty much treatable amongst many other cancers. And they also talk about the way they used to treat breast cancer back in, I think it was the 50s. They call it the radical mastectomy, where they believe that cancer will spread through this, like where the tumor originally started, and just like in a very uniform way spreading off on that point. So then they believe the more they can take out, the less likely you have cancer. So a woman will go in with early stage cancer, breast cancers like me, and they will go out with their entire, like half of their arm, their collarbone, their ribs removed. It was ridiculous. The woman will be like permanently like deformed. It was horrifying to read some of the things that they used to do. So again, it's really calming reading that book. So I'm now in the 1980s and halfway through the book, so I'll give an update once that's done. And of course, just a lot of things that you learn through that, and a lot of the statistic, and of course statistic means nothing when it comes to the individual person. So it is all about your journey. So that's kind of what I learned. Now to finish out, I want to talk about the things that I learned personally regarding myself, more internally, more emotionally. So first thing, of course, is a priority change. I went through a lot of personal improvement in the last 2 years through Tony Robbins and a lot of other teachers. And the reason why is because I always chase in my mind, I always equip success and a good life with a lot of money. There's like a number I set for myself that I need to make. And it's funny because when you listen to people like Tony Robbins talk, he's so rich and he keep talking about house first. And he'll talk about, or else you'll spend all of your life chasing money, and you'll spend every last dime you have to buy back your health. So it's funny because in my mind, the time I just go, I'm so young and I'm invincible. It will never happen. And I'm crying not because I'm sad, just because it's such an amazing experience to kind of learn and be humbled and learn what it really means to now to go house first. That is really the most important thing. So it really changed my priority. And next thing is why I'm crying is to learn to open up, be vulnerable, to learn to listen to other and to open up. The process of opening up is amazing because I listen to a lot of people and their journey, and everyone react differently. And I surprised myself for being so vulnerable because I'm usually a big fighter. I'm very energetic and I'm kind of tomboyish. But man, nothing like the idea, not even that I will die because I know I won't, but the idea that I might become a burden to my immediate family and my husband, it breaks me down. It makes me very vulnerable. But then I need to be vulnerable because that's part of life, and every way to react is okay. Because I've heard people who were very tough, they did not tell their family or friends until they had diagnosis. And of course, I hear a lot of people tell me that they cry the whole time, and I'm kind of in the middle of that. Like, I'm mostly really happy, but from time to time, I just get a wealth of emotion. Again, not because of sadness, but because of I'm feeling that intensity of love and connection with your family and your friends is so intensified when things like this happen, right? People coming all of the woodwork, and it's very overwhelming in every possible way, and it melts my heart. It made me feel comfortable to be vulnerable, because it is okay. That's what the whole human experience is. You lean on each other and you help each other. And oh man, I've been wanting to do this, and one of the exercises that I did in my personal growth journey, let me see if I can find it fast enough. It was to find a theme song for yourself every year, a song that represents what you want your year to be. And I always find that exercise very fun and very helpful. And I used to have such a hard time looking for the song that's my theme song for the year. But it was funny that as soon as I was diagnosed with cancer, I can find that theme song immediately. And I will play a little bit because I know like Facebook gets crazy when you use other people's music. But my theme song for 2021 is from Andrea Day. I'm gonna cry again, it's amazing. Well, it's called Rise Up. I love the lyrics because it's very strong. Again, I'm not crying because I'm dying. I'm just crying because I'm so overwhelmed for all your support, your love. And I know this is normally a wine group, and I will continue to do wines and all that stuff. But at the same time, parallelly, I will be sharing this journey with you. So thank you for being here. I love you. And go listen to the song. That's all I have for today. I go in for MRI tomorrow. Oh no, it's tomorrow Wednesday? Yeah, it's all happening very fast. I go into MRI for tomorrow because I'm too young. My breast cancer tissue is dense, so they want to make sure there's no additional tumor that they can see from the mammogram and the ultrasound. And after that, I'm gonna go through a full round of IVF. And if everything goes well, I'll be scheduling for surgeries, hopefully sometime end of this month or early next month. But I'll be around. I have already the next round of wines I'm ready to recommend and taste with you guys. I'm hoping to do that on Thursday, and I promise I won't cry. But with that being said, love you guys so much. You guys are the best, and I hope you have the best rest of your week. Bye.